So this is going to be the final video in how we finish the master schedule process. There's going to be several parts to it. Some of you have completed some of those parts, but we're going to walk through each step just so we can make sure everybody's where they need to be. And we can commit the master schedule next week and ready for the rollover. So I'm going to go ahead and go over here to my applications and choose PowerScheduler. Once we're in PowerScheduler, the first thing we want to do is to look for students that have not yet been scheduled. So we're going to go down to reports, and then down almost all the way to the bottom under the post-build reports, there's this unscheduled students. This will grab every student in your system and see if they have a schedule. So for this school, they have a total of 473 students next year. We're going to hit submit. It takes it a minute to run. Bigger your school, the longer it will take to run and search. Some of you may have students because you've made choices to hand schedule after the rollover for SLC or dual enrollment or dual immersion, other things. So here's what we're going to see. So this period one, this is the only one we care about, this one right here at the top. So right now he's got 77 students left to schedule. Don't worry about any of these other numbers. That's totally fine. This one is your group. If you click on that, it'll show you who they are. If you want to work with those students, because they're a group, you can make it your current selection of students and say, I want to work with those kids. And you can start enrolling them. If you have 5 or 6, you can do that. This is something that you can work on after the rollover as well. But if you want to get those scheduled, you can work with those students right here. It brings them up. And then you can start looking at why they didn't schedule. At this point, why they didn't schedule is less important than getting them in a schedule. For some of you, I know you really want to fix that, and that's okay. But my recommendation is, you're going to have anywhere between 0 and 50 kids probably. I would just go over here to schedule, look at this guy and manually schedule this student. She didn't get something because she doesn't have a course request. So that's a fix for her. So she's a kindergartner for next year. I don't know if she's dual enrollment or not. So we'd have to first give her a course request, and then we can schedule her into classes. Same with all these other ones. So that's the first step, is doing the report and fixing any kids that don't have a schedule. So hand scheduling your special ed, your dual immersion, or any just kids that the system didn't get scheduled, have been added to your system since we did that work. Hopefully most of you have somewhere between 0 and 30 kids. That's really easy to just go in and hand schedule those kids real quick. So that's the first step. The next one that really has to be done before you do your rollover are the dependent sections. When I looked, more than half of you had those done already, but I just want to walk you through that process again really quick to show you where it's at. So you're going to go first and look at your master schedule and look at how I'm going to add all my periods, all my rooms, all my teachers, and submit that so I can see. And this is where you want. So we're going to make all these classes, your English, math, history, and science, dependent on this class right here, this homework. So for Mrs. Nolan here, we know that she is the first section. So homeroom for first grade, first section. First section for English, math, history, science. That makes it really easy because you can come over to this dependent sections chart, and that's what I highlighted. So you just copy this group right here, including that last comma. And I'm going to show you, so I'm going to copy that really quickly. And then I'm going to come over here to this section right here on hers. I'm going to click on this section number, not the students, but the section number. And then we're going to go down right here to this box where it says dependent sections. I'm going to paste that group that I put in there. And then we just hit submit. That's all I have to do for the dependent sections part. So again, I can come back over here to my master schedule, pick on my teachers again, and I can go down the list. Now, for those schools, and most of you that haven't done it yet are schools that have some complications. Dual immersion or SLC have They can change things for you. So I'm going to go down here to his dual immersion and show you what I'm talking about. So right here, so Mrs. Sanchez Palomares, so her homeroom for dual immersion is section 1. Her English is section 1. Her math, history, and science are section 4. So for that, we're going to have to make a custom list. It's not hard at all. What we have to make sure we're doing is as we build that list here, we're going to have to go in and say, I need for this class, so I need this one, the E1100DI.2, and then comma E1200.3, comma E1600.3, comma E1300.3, and we'll paste it into this one. So again, I'm going to go back through that again. So this is my parent section. I need this section number, this whole thing right here, comma, this whole section right here, comma, this whole section right here, comma, this whole section right here, and a comma at the end. And then I can go back and I can paste it. So if I go back to this section, and I can paste all that right here. That's how you do dependent sections. You do that for each homeroom that you have. This is a generic list that works for most of you until you get into SLC or DI. Then you have to change these numbers around. That's why we just did that work. So that's the dependent section part of it. The last step, if you've done your dependent sections, you've run your report, you have most all your kids that you're worried about getting scheduled right now, scheduled, your master schedule looks good, you love what you're seeing right now, the last piece you go to is the commit. So when we're right down here, everything's great. You and the principal have looked at it. Everybody's happy. You're ready to go for next year. You hit this commit button. Then what you're going to get is you're going to go and make sure this one right here, this section's student schedules. So you're going to replace everything. So you're going to take what you just built, what you spent since February building in this master schedule process. And once you hit submit, it moves everything you did over to the live side. And then it becomes your new year. So you have a 24-25 schedule all built out on the live side and you're ready to go. Then that's all you have left to do. We'll do the rollover from that point and you'll be in 24-25. You'll be ready to start the new year. If you have questions again, please make sure you reach out. Thank you very much.